We are coming to the end of October, only 3 games on the schedule, matching ranked opponents, but as we often say, these are the Saturdays, or the Thursdays, or the Fridays, when strange things start to happen. This is the College GameDay Podcast. Rece Davis and Pete Thamel. Game day, as you probably know by now, is headed to Music City, USA, Vanderbilt, and Missouri. Pete, just as we started this podcast, I was greeted by a text to you and me from our friend, Missouri head coach Eli Drinkwitz, who had come across a video that I had sent to my friend John Anderson, the legendary SportsCenter anchor, one of the great writers in the history of SportsCenter, who is now teaching at Mizzou and is an unabashed Missouri fan. And I thought John had asked me on Sunday if I would send a little video just talking about Missouri or whatever. I anticipated that this was like to be shown to his class. Somehow it wound up on the interwebs. Thankfully, I was not just in full pep talk mode and being perceived as disrespecting the other side when all I was really doing was having a little fun. So it's a lesson out there for you kids. So here on the College GameDay Podcast, what we like to do is we like to help people. We want to help America. We want to help the youth of America. So do not put anything on your phone, in a text, in a video, social media, even if you think it disappears in 24 hours. Do not put anything out there that you do not want broadcast from the mountaintops and from the world. But everything I said, I didn't really mind. I do think there's going to be it's homecoming at Vanderbilt.
It is homecoming at Vanderbilt.
Homecoming?
It is homecoming at Vanderbilt.
There's a lot of attention, and as I said in this little video, it's all deserved. Yeah. Everything Vandy's getting. But it feels like the quintessential poor old Missouri kind of game, doesn't it?
Now, I will say this. Vandy had Missouri beat last year in Columbia, like 3 different times. They missed 3 kicks. This is off the top of my head from a year ago. But it was something abysmal in the kicking game. That
I think both had kicking issues in that game.
Yes. Well, Missouri certainly has kicking issues this year because I believe their kicker tore his ACL very early in the season. And that has been a bit of an adventure. Although it seems like Coach Drinkwitz has used his Jedi forces to try to get that field goal in against Auburn. Because if he was like, if I just walk across the field, the refs will signal that it's good.
Here are the field goal issues. I knew I had it in notes here. Last year, Missouri missed 3 in regulation before making one in overtime to take the lead. And then Vanderbilt missed a 31-yarder that would have forced a third overtime. Missouri won 30-27. But you're right. Vanderbilt had multiple opportunities to win that game, but Missouri would probably say made a couple more made field goals. Maybe it wouldn't have been that way. Yeah. But I anticipate the game Saturday to be like that, to be close. You've got 2 teams that can really run it, among the best in the nation in yards per carry in Vanderbilt, and then Missouri and putting together yards. They both have dual threat quarterbacks. They're both sound defensively. I think Missouri has a couple of game wreckers on the edge too, and how that plays against Pavia and Vanderbilt will be one of the fascinating things on Saturday. And really, it's sort of a loser leaves town match in terms of the SEC race and trying to get to the SEC championship game. Yeah,
I think an interesting subplot here. We have spent a lot of time and energy on Diego Pavia, and rightfully so. No player in my lifetime doing this has ever single-handedly transformed a program, its reputation, how it's viewed in the way Diego Pavia has, from what they were for the prior century, basically, to what they have become. Now, you seem like you have a counter to that, Rece.
No. I thought I did, but I was delighted to hear that you went on and gave the qualifier, because I was about to submit to you one Cameron Newton.
Okay. Yes.
I understand totally what you mean. Go ahead.
The prior 75 years, other than a blip under James Franklin, when Game Day went in like 07 or 08 to Vandy, do you know who they played?
I think it was 08.
08.
Yeah, I think it was.
Do you know who they played?
I think they played Auburn.
They played Auburn.
I think they played Auburn. I think it was a 14. I think they won 14-13.
Oh wow. Okay.
Continue on. I'll check it.
So here's my thought. if you've watched Pavia, he has taken up a lot of oxygen. We have certainly fueled that oxygen. I don't want to sit here and just say it's been created in the media and he's also just unbelievably compelling, controversial. He's got Johnny Manziel rolling around with him and Theo Vaughn, and he's practicing victory formation in Tuscaloosa. Like, he's a ridiculous character. He's like out of a book, right? Like, if there's like a teen novel about a transformative quarterback, his name would be Diego Pavia, the Albuquerque Tinkler. Dan would be disappointed if I didn't mention the Albuquerque. It's just, his story's wild. Now, at a certain point, if you're an opponent, right? If you are Zion Young, the Michigan State transfer, is star defensive end at Missouri. If you are Damon Wilson, likely first-round pick, Georgia transfer, opposite Zion Young. If you're Darius Smith, who's another high end, guy who came from Georgia, who's very good.
He's been a little banged up too.
Yes.
Too. Yeah.
Do you what is your psychology going against Diego Pavia?
I think you saw a lot of that in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of that was fueled by the fact that Vanderbilt had won the previous year against Alabama. But I mean, there was some pretty serious yapping in the aftermath directed toward Diego. But you know what? I mean, and not from the fans. Everybody saw the stupid fan thing, but I'm talking about from the players, kind of, because I think they felt like he had stuck it to them a little bit. But you know what? That's kind of part of the show. It's part of the fun. It makes Diego who he is. Yeah. And he was sensational as a pregame guest last week when he's really out there warming up and throwing. He was sensational. And I think there's also a real desire on his part to have a lot of the focus. He's a smart guy. He's a savvy, shrewd guy. And I think there's a real desire for attention to be deflected from him and onto his teammates. He has appreciation for what they've done. He has expressed that he wants some attention going that way. But when you're Vanderbilt and you have the history that it has, and you're trying for this breakthrough moment, you need a face of the program. And he's dynamic, and he believes they can win. He's there to win championships, and he says so. Yeah. It's great. Yes. I mean, it's great for Vanderbilt because it's there have been generations of just stay over there on the side, Vandy, and if you rise up every now and then, we'll pat you on the head and say that's cute. That's sweet cupcake. Thanks for coming along and winning a game. And they don't want that anymore. And I think they need a guy like Pavia, and he's been perfect. He's been the perfect guy at the perfect time for this resurgence, and so is Clark Lee. And there's been talk recently, finally, about Tim Beck, the offensive coordinator, who is a brilliant play caller, apparently, because they always seem to find wide open spaces in their running game. And it's been the perfect mix, and it'll be a great game because I think Missouri's good. Missouri has moments where you feel like they can't get out of their own way, but they're good. I mean, a lot of teams would have lost that game in Auburn Saturday night. And they came close to losing it, but they didn't. Yeah. And I think that there's a lot of credit. It's a tough place to play. Auburn was desperate. That was a really, really good win for them. Yeah,
the margins have never been thinner in college football. So you need to win a few, get that field goal. You're just going to win games like that. It's that's just what especially the SEC is now. So yeah, I want to be clear. I do not want Diego Pavia to change. I want him to be as boisterous as provocateur. I want him to do it all. I would never ever come on here and say, boy, that guy shouldn't talk that much or be that interesting. He should go and say, we're going to take it one game at a time here, Vanderbilt. No, he has been the lightning rod they need. And I wonder if, this moment, this Saturday, game day's there, which is a big moment for their campus. Now, right before the NIL era, essentially, Vanderbilt went out and spent $300 million in March of 2021 on facilities improvements. And I've heard that tab has gone up. Like a lot of tabs in Nashville, Rece, it isn't exactly what was initially projected at the start of the night. And so the infrastructure, the investment, the give a heck right, is now matched by the product at Vanderbilt. And could Pavia, he's the main instigator, along with Clark Lee, Tim Beck, Jerry Kill, could this be the springboard for them to have annual contention in the SEC, or annual relevance, or even annual, like, above 500 go to bowl, like things that they just haven't had consistently? Like, could we be at a moment here where the trajectory changes for Vanderbilt?
Vanderbilt last week with that win over LSU and the victory, another victory over a top 10 opponent to go with the one they had last year, it made them bowl eligible. And I've been doing this long enough to know that it used to be, boy, if there were some schools, and Vanderbilt was on the list, if they became bowl eligible, it was cause for celebration. I understand that the dynamics surrounding the bowls that have changed significantly over the years, but that barely merited a peep or a mention because the standards have been raised and they have opportunities to do this, to be able to contend. I think they have to win Saturday. You're not in a position to have two losses and one of those losses to be to one of the other contenders and to feel like the tiebreaker is going to go your way. So I feel like the loser of this one is in trouble. You probably, maybe if things fall right, you still get an at-large bid, but it would have to fall just right. So there are tons of things at stake here for both of these teams. I think they're both really good, and it'll be fascinating theater. But I agree with you. We don't want Diego to change one iota. And the reason I brought that up about him wanting to put some of the spotlight on his teammates is because I think sometimes when you see a guy who commands as much attention as he does because of his dynamic personality, sometimes people at home, that's all they see. And that's what they're watching. And they get the perception that, he might somehow be, about himself. This guy's a team guy. These guys follow him. He's a leader. You can't be uncaring about the rest of your teammates and have guys rally around you the way he does. And I think he's a dynamic, charismatic guy who's a really, really good player, and also a good leader and a good teammate. It's certainly all indications would be that. And it'll be fun to see Missouri try to get after him and see if they can bottle him up on Saturday, because both these teams, a lot of the profiles are really good. Like Missouri's rush defense, which is Vanderbilt's calling card, is top 15 in the country in yards per carry. They give up less than or fewer than 3 yards per carry. Vanderbilt's rush defense is also top 15, and they're hovering right around the top 25 in yards per carry allowed. And Missouri runs the ball top 10. Vanderbilt, as mentioned earlier, they're top 5 in yards per carry. So both these teams want to run it. Both these teams are pretty good at running it and stopping it. Might be one of those games, unless you have big downfield plays. This might fill the time frame of one of the service academy games. Maybe not the Air Force Navy game where they were throwing it all over the place, but one of those where all of a sudden, man, where did the second quarter go? There's only 3 minutes left.
8 possessions, one of those Fabergé egg games where you better hold on to that ball, and every possession is a precious jewel. Not a good game to have some lag in your kicking game, probably. As Missouri does. I'm going to be curious, Rece. I'll go over to practice at Vanderbilt this week. I'll just be curious to see their operation, right? Because Clark Lee is doing what great coaches do. And he is doing the sum is greater than the parts. Now, Vandy has very good players. They have significantly and massively uprated. Look, all these places get $18 million in rev share, right? And so they're going to go get good players. And they have gone and gotten a lot of older transfers, productive guys, be they from Ivies or academic schools or whatever. They've leveraged Vanderbilt to get those guys. But this is not a program that's crawling with NFL prospects. Eli Stowers, the tight end, is most certainly one. He's like an Evan Ingram type guy. Maybe not the best inline blocker, but he will go catch you some footballs, and he's a converted quarterback. He's good. They have middle linebacker Langston Patterson. He's been there, I think, since the James Franklin era. He's got a tackling machine. Randon Fontenette, the star, is probably their best prospect on defense. They have very good players, but and I say this out of all respect, they are playing well as a whole and as a collection of talent. The offensive line is good, not great, but they are playing within their schemes and playing synchronized where you can elevate. So I'm excited to just kind of catch a little bit of a feel for the magic in how they're doing it, because a lot of that stuff, if you're going to play that way and be that in sync, it has to start behind the scenes.
Team that Vanderbilt beat last week and set off some complaining and murmuring on the Bayou. LSU home against Texas A&M. A&M is undefeated. Aggies have won 2 games this season in which their opponents have scored 40 points or more against them. Of course, if you really think about it, that's nothing. A&M once beat LSU in a game in which LSU scored 72 points. They had the 74-72-7 overtime game that had the premature jocularity and the premature Gatorade bath for Coach O. If you remember that. And then
I do.
The replay, they went back and looked, and Kellen Mond's knee was down on an interception, and A&M ended up going on and winning it. This is a last stand for LSU. Doesn't mean that they won't win another game if they don't win that, but a last stand in terms of relevance. Started the season in top 5, had a guy that many presumed would be in contention to be the first overall pick in the draft at quarterback. Year 2 of the defense, which has been good. Pavia made them look less good on Saturday than they had. Everything was in line. Now they lost 2 games. But we've talked about how you have to get used to the different dynamic in college football. I mean, Ohio State, prime example last year. Lost a couple of games, all seemed lost, ripped through, won the national championship. We haven't seen any type of indication from LSU that could happen. But mathematically and skill-wise, they're still really good. And this is a last stand type game. A&M's got those dynamic receivers, fascinating matchup on how they attack and who they use to attack. I did some looking. Marissa Dowling and I got together and looked at alignment, and I watched some tape about how LSU uses Mansour Delane, who Nick Saban believes, I think he said earlier in the season, thought he was the best corner in the country. Now you think,
what does he know about corner play?
Exactly. So you think Delane versus Craver, but basically where they line up Craver most of the time is slot. Delane doesn't do that as much.
Mm-hmm.
When he does line up in the slot, and it hasn't been very often, they've used him to pressure the quarterback.
Okay.
So now it becomes the other guys. It becomes maybe, Concepcion on
He's
the
had a
outside
wonderful
against
season.
Delane.
What a player
He's had
he
a
is.
great season too. So there are a lot of great matchups in this from an XO standpoint.
Yeah.
But it almost feels like this is more mentality. Can A&M go on the road and win a game in a hostile environment against a desperate team? And does LSU have one more in them to kind of get this thing headed in the right direction as they go into November and stay in contention?
Yeah, if their offense just hadn't been such an enigma, I'd feel a little better, right? Because A&M is yielding points, as you pointed out. Like Arkansas, again, there was a late flurry there, but Arkansas scored on them at their leisure. We haven't seen it all come together for LSU, and I think the people who projected early in the year, including myself, underestimated the loss of the 4 starting offensive linemen.
Mm-hmm.
I think 3 of them were drafted, and they just haven't quite come together. Like they got a guy from Virginia. They got it just hasn't linked up and synced up in a way that's allowed them to find a flow and an identity on offense. So you would think that, considering some of A&M's struggles on defense, which are a little surprising, if you look at Mike Elko and Jay Bateman in their history, you would think that LSU might be able to move the ball at home at night, that kind of thing. But I just think this thing could end up being a 20-17 kind of a game. And at this point, A&M has the juju, right, which we haven't really said much, probably since Johnny was there to win these games.
When you were thinking about the number of points they gave up, and we praise Mike Elko's third down defense, when I was doing some work on that game earlier this week, I thought they've given up points, they've given up yards at times, especially against the better teams. I thought, but I'll bet you they're still good on third down, and they are.
Interesting.
They're still second in the country in third down defense.
Really?
even so. Yeah. So
Huh. That's
it's,
interesting.
so stay out of third down, score on first and second down, and you'll be way better off, I guess. And we'll see what the percentage is. Yeah, only Ohio State's better. A&M gives up like 23% of third down conversions. Ohio State gives up a little over 21%.
21%.
So stay out of third down, kids, against Elko. That's been a theme.
What do you think the
season.
vibe is at Tiger Stadium on Saturday night? Now, that is a fan base that will turn. They will turn on their second drink. Like they will turn.
They will. I've told this story many times. Tuberville took an Auburn team down there several years ago and had him. It was when he smoked the cigar midfield after the game or whatever. And they were up, I want to say it was 42-0 at halftime. Auburn was up on them. And you want to talk about, they didn't even stay to boo. They left. It came out in the second half and there was no one there. It looked like a COVID game before COVID had even been thought of. There was no one home. I think there will be a little bit of that feel of we're behind you as long as you play to the level that we expect. So I think there will be a lot, and I think it won't take much for them to get mad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
It won't take much for them to get mad.
Yeah. That's kind of
been a frustrating first 7 games for them.
Yeah, that's kind of I don't want to call it a rivalry, but that's sort of like a sneaky neighbor game where they're always kind of looking at each other up. What road is that would connect Baton Rouge to Houston? Like they're kind of
I-10.
Yeah,
probably
I-10.
Yeah.
Like they just kind of are always, they're always battling for recruits in Houston. A&M will try to sneak into the boot a little bit. They don't. I wouldn't say it's like some like bloodthirsty rivalry, like the Mississippi schools or Auburn, Alabama. But I would think there's some like general distrust and dislike in that rivalry.
How many times since A&M joined the SEC in the 2012 season, how many times do you think, remember they were same division, but prior to the demise of the divisions, how many times do you think A&M has won in Baton Rouge since then?
I don't know. I would say twice.
0.
Really?
A&M's 9, or rather LSU's 9-4 against A&M.
Yeah.
And A&M is 7-0 for the first time since 1994, which is also the last time they won in Baton Rouge, which was prior to them joining the SEC.
Yeah. And
so it has been a minute.
If they do win, don't be surprised if the beeping you hear is the Brinks truck backing up to the A&M football facility for Mike Elko. Because, again, he's handsomely compensated and has done a very nice job there stabilizing that ship and pushing it forward. But what we're about to see in this coaching carousel, Rece, is the flurry of, like we saw it with Sig already, right? With the flurry of preventative moves. Mm-hmm. And then it's going to be, the market's going to get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller of where you can go for established head coaches, because there are only so many established, successful head coaches.
You've brought this up, that this is a little bit, this week and next week are the lulls in the schedule, so to speak. Now, we always find great things that happen because it's college football and unexpected, crazy things happen. But
we're not complaining, by the way. Like it's
right.
We love it.
No, not at all.
We will watch it from noon until 2 and love every
And there's
second.
always something compelling and fascinating, even if you maybe on a Thursday you look at it and go, I don't know where that's going to be, but it pops up someplace. So you had mentioned maybe
Stanford.
Yeah, exactly. That next week would be a really good time to really dive into the coaching carousel on this podcast. And we talk, and probably maybe even on a Game Day football show as well. The big swing. These people are taking big swings. Everybody knows what Florida's big swing is going to be, it appears. I would think, to your point, and you saying Elko and the Brinks truck brought it up, the big swing for Penn State would be to try to lure Mike Elko back home. I mean, and again, look, I always have a little, because of the number of coaches that I've worked with in my career, I have some sensitivity to bringing things like this up. When a guy has a great job already or has any job, bringing it up, I understand why they wouldn't answer it. But they keep leaving for other jobs. And I don't say that critically. I mean, everyone's out there to advance their career. You do what's best for you. We've seen most certainly they will fire you if they become dissatisfied with your performance. So I hold no ill will toward anyone who leaves one job for another one. That's life. That's business. I do have some sensitivity to bringing it up, but if you're talking you're sticking your head in the sand and pretending things don't happen, if you don't look at it from the mindset of those who are looking for a new coach. And I would think that a logical big swing without some of the downside of the other candidates that we've mentioned at Penn State, a big swing would be, let's go see if Elko says no. And, and to your point, A&M is going to most likely take that preventative measure to make it, very easy or far easier to say no to anyone who might come and take a big swing at him, I would think.
Yeah. It's interesting. Mike Elko is from South Jersey. I want to say parents worked at Amtrak and the post office in his town. He grew up blue collar and there went to Penn. Now, again, I know you obviously know this geography because getting to State College is a vexing mystery. That's not like that is not geographically in the radius of State College. Now, he's of the Northeast. He's well aware of the Penn State brand. I think it's an interesting. We could do a whole podcast debating Penn State versus A&M as a job, but I would say Penn State's a better job. Like just it's a top 3 job, 4 job in an 18-team league, right? If you want to throw USC in there somewhere, but it's whereas A&M is not a top 4 job in a 16-team league. It's a very good job and it's supported, right? You will be supported at Texas A&M for sure. But it just simply put, they haven't won a conference title since the Big 12 in 1994, Rece? Eight. Sorry.
Remember they Brandon Stewart, the Tennessee transfer, hit Sir Parker in the Big 12 championship game, and they beat Kansas State, knocked them out of.
That is correct. Michael Bishop.
Yeah.
I was yes.
They haven't won a national championship since 1939.
Who was the coach in 39?
I don't know. I'd have to look it up. Maybe
you weren't doing raps in 39.
Was it Dana? Oh, very good. Dana X Bible, maybe. I don't know. I think that he might have predated that, but I'm not sure.
It was R.C. Slocum when they won the Big 12. I do know.
That's correct.
I do know that.
That is correct. The Aggie legend and consummate gentleman, R.C. Slocum.
Good gentleman.
Did you just you're not familiar with the greatest movie ever made, my favorite movie of all time. You don't really know Oh Brother, Where Art
I don't,
Thou?
Rece. I don't. I've never seen it.
Okay. Well, your description of getting to State College, what did you say it was? A vexing mystery? Is that what you said?
Yeah, a redundant. Okay. It's just remote there. That's all. It's hard to get to. Love it there. It's great. I now just fly in. For game day, we come in on Thursday, so you can just pop through Philly and land right there, and you're 4.2 miles from campus.
For my Oh Brother, Where Art Thou aficionados, I think Pete just said that State College was a geographical oddity, 2 miles or 2 weeks from everywhere. There's a scene where George Clooney is going into the local Woolworth when he and his band of merry men are on the run after escaping prison and are seeking the treasure. And Clooney, and his character, Ulysses Everett McGill, is very concerned with his hair, as well he should be. Because as he wisely pointed out, I don't know what to think about a man what doesn't keep his coiffure in order. And he preferred the hair jelly, his hair treatment, the pleasing aroma is half the point, of Dapper Dan. And the man behind the store said, we only have FOP. And he says, I don't want FOP, expletive, I want Dapper Dan. And he said, take you 2 weeks. And he said, well, ain't this place a geographical oddity? 2 weeks from everywhere. So I think that's what you said about, I think you just called Penn State, traveling to Penn State, like getting a can of FOP for your hair.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
And it's
that's
2 weeks
what
from
I meant.
everywhere.
I just meant
That's
I've done that
exactly
drive from Philly a few times, and I'm still doing it in my head. It's like,
but it's a beautiful drive.
It is this time of year. It's very
nice.
It's
a beautiful area.
It's very nice.
Yeah. Very nice place.
I went there in the spring, like maybe May, and landed. And it's rare we're there. It's not like a game weekend or whatever. And I was like, this is like a postcard. This place is awesome. Yeah. Simpler
We
times
flew
there
in.
at State College.
We
Rece. Simpler
we
times.
flew into State College a few years ago on a day that was very, very windy, and
Ooh, that's no good.
we had a number of our staff on the plane, and there were several of us talking about the show, and one guy who would not have the reputation of getting queasy over anything is in the middle of a thought, and he said, "Wait a minute." And it was because the plane was rocking, and he was, afraid he was about to become sick. And, I'm not immune to that type of stuff, but I hadn't really noticed it. I felt fine. And so I looked at our former colleague, the great Lindsay Lloyd, who's now with WWE, because everybody else seemed very upset and, sort of peaked color as if they were about to become ill. And I looked at Lindsay. I'm like, "Lindsay, you're with me. You're okay, right?" And she didn't say a word, just shook her head no back and forth very quickly. We had people who, when we got down safely, who went directly to their hotel, turned off all the lights, and just went to lie in bed to settle their system. So you get in between those mountains, and it can be a little rocky coming in there sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to discourage any coaching candidate at Penn State. Sometimes it's perfectly lovely to go right in there. We're not trying
I wonder if the new coach will demand they build a longer runway.
Because they have to, sometimes for the bigger planes, they have to drive to Harrisonburg or someplace?
Correct, yeah. Or I think Oregon State and Altoona. Now, lovely town, State College. They have plenty of room, right? Like, there's no lack once you get outside the outskirts of like wide open, beautiful spaces. So Pat Kraft, your friend Nick Colella, I think those guys, they put it on the checklist, right? I mean, how much longer? This is a good question for any aviators who listen. Like, how much longer does the runway need to be?
Yeah, I don't know.
To land a plane from California.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that, but that's an important thing. I would try to have that done, especially for the number of trips they're going to be making back and forth across the continent now.
Yeah. No, I mean, if that private equity money showed up, that might be a good runway investment, because it would save you in the long run, right? Like the bus, the lunch, all that kind of stuff. Plus just like the human toll of the extra 3 hours that adds to every trip. So, yeah.
Shorter trip for Ole Miss going to Oklahoma, a theme much like the LSU Texas A&M game that somehow took us into travel and, oh brother, where art thou, and hair treatments and all kinds of things. Who knows where Lane Kiffin against Brent Venables will take us? Did you hear? Had you ever heard any such thing as what Lane said this week, that perhaps there is a feeling in the coaching community that Brent Venables is astute at picking up your signals? Have you ever heard of such a thing?
If you want to get some ACC coaches and assistant coaches of a certain era talking, you talk to them about Brent Venables. I had an ACC assistant a couple years ago when I wrote about this. They called the guys that Clemson had on the sideline. I've written all this. This isn't like some secret. They called them the choir boys. This was like this one program's nickname for them, because there were these guys who sat there and they literally had like these like hymnals full of your signals, basically. And so they would all stand there and they would flip through the hymnals and like determine and do your signs. Now, the one thing that was interesting is, like, we all, you and I know a lot about football. You know a lot more than me, but I have to know what I don't know. Like, I wouldn't be able to watch a game and realize that they were jumping slants, and that's because they stole the signal. I just wouldn't. So I thought it was like fascinating. I love it when these guys who know so much about football give us that like little 1% that we wouldn't be able to see, even though we're all watching the same thing. And that's what I was appreciative of Lane. Now, we enjoy his snark, and it's great fodder for the podcast. So there's a lot of positive here. But what I really enjoyed was the why he thought that. It wasn't just like they're stealing signs. I believe he said jumping the slant. The safety was jumping the slant, which isn't normal.
Yeah, he said it was unusual for a safety to just just sell out, barreling toward the slant with no thought that perhaps he was, giving up something else. At least that's, the way it appeared to him.
Coaches who've played Venables, Rece, ended up a lot like our ESPN colleagues in the dark in their hotel room. Like, they're like, and we had a call we've never made before, but all these things, and they knew exactly what it was. Or they sold out for the run on 3rd and 8 when it was an obvious passing down. Like the way, the fervor in which they describe. Now, how much of that is that Venables was in their head, and how much of that was that he had really good players, because he had a lot of really good players. But they would always say he would not send in the call until the very last second. Like if you watch them closely, he's on the sideline and he's not sending the call. Now, some of that is he wants to see what they do, right? So that's that's not crazy to think about. So no, that is again, that is part of the legal cat and mouse game that has happened for years. If you are not flying around buying tickets on your own credit card, and
has someone done that recently?
It's scouting games as specifically described that you can't in the NCAA rulebook. Now, maybe not specific enough for some, but pretty specific. That is not legal. It is legal to sit around, watch TV copies, have like most of these schools have like an outfit, an old codger coach, someone who in Michigan's case, it was a young buck, but like they have someone to do this. But I found like during that whole thing, like the line to me was always pretty clear. Like if you call a coach on a Sunday and said, "Hey, what do you have for signals off this thing?" That's kind of part of the game and how it works. Yeah. And that's what, and I think Clemson, to their credit, as they were on that run there, were ahead of the curve on the amount of resources they marshaled towards legal scouting of games, legal, deciphering of signals.
It's, there's a difference if it's explicitly stated in the rule book, the things that you mentioned you can't do. I get all that. I even get, going through the clandestine cameras, as we've seen, with the Astros, and I guess, as the Patriots were alleged to have done, or whoever. I don't know if that was ever proven. I don't recall. The Astros thing comes to mind, but I outside of the most egregious violating what is written in the rule book type things, and if you do hidden cameras or secret tapes or anything like that, okay, of course you shouldn't do that. That should be punished. But most of it falls into the category of what I'm about to say right now. If someone is stealing your signs, get better signs. If there is a runner on second base and he is picking up when your pitcher is throwing the curveball, don't get mad at the runner at second base. Hide your sign better. Same with the football signs. If they've got them, change them. If they go old school, go 1982 high school football and run the play in with the left guard and run them back and forth. Whatever it takes, man. Don't complain about that. Get better signs, get a better system. They're stealing them. That's not a them problem. That's a you problem. So if they get them, they get them.
A bit of tangentially related trivia. Do you know who the slowest team is in college football this year?
Okay, well, I guess since you're doing this, I'm going to say Oklahoma.
No.
Probably not.
It is not. It is another team tangentially impacted by what we talked about.
Okay.
They are huddling and leaning on their defense and operating at a deliberate tempo. They are the number 1 ranked team in the country, Ohio State Buckeyes.
Oh. Yeah. How about that? And that's quite a change.
Well, I think that's directly related to your what you just said, right?
Yeah. Get better signs, man, or go into a huddle.
Yeah, go in the huddle. Ain't nobody stealing them.
Yeah, that's right.
You need a drone or something to do that. So
Ohio State looks so good that I actually think they should tell the other team what they're going to do.
If Jeremiah Smith told the corner what he was going to do, the corner still couldn't stop him. So
like
Carnell Tate too, by the way. Like he's
yeah.
But isn't that a funny dynamics of the game?
Yeah.
Now Urban never went fast. Urban was a spread guy. He never went particularly fast with tempo. And Chip changed a lot of that too. Chip was one of the,
Yeah, they didn't go so fast last year.
No, they didn't really go so fast last year. And
they weren't. It's not Marcus Mariota, Michael James breakneck speed at all last year.
Yes,
for them.
Yes. Dennis Dixon. But It's just interesting because you do think of Day just generally reputationally as being a guy who wants to score a lot and likes to move it. And I think some of this is as we grow in it, like as a head coach grows and adapts and evolves in philosophically and how he does it. It's like, okay, we have the best defense in the history of college football through 8 weeks, right? I believe it's tied or they're first, like it's 41 points. Like let's let that be our identity. So anyway, a little fun trivia on a rainy Wednesday here.
Hey, before we make picks, I need to take a peek and make sure we're not picking this game. No, we're not. Number 2 team in the country, Indiana, UCLA. UCLA's hot. Signetti said, this team, they're playing an undefeated team since Tim Skipper took over. The Bruins, all credit in the world for turning around what was an abject disaster to start. But it bears pointing out that their wins in Big Ten play, and there are 3 of them, and they are mathematically in the race at 3-1 in conference play. But they've come against opponents who are 1-11 in Big Ten play. UCLA have this new UCLA look anything at all for Indiana this week, or is this turn out to be a big deal?
I give Tim Skipper all the credit in the world for what they've done there, right? I mean, that is a resuscitation, a revival act, a Houdini, escape from the box. Like it's unlike much that I've ever seen, right? Like they've been awesome. I just don't think they're going to be able to go into Bloomington and do what they've done at some other places. I just think that thing that Sig has rolling right now it's a wood chipper, man. It's a wood chipper. Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying they're going to beat them like they beat Illinois, but I don't give UCLA much of a chance in this game.
All right, Pete, we've talked about a lot of things that we enjoy talking about: football, coaching, carousels. Oh, brother, where art thou? But this is really what everybody waits for, so that they can tell us how wrong we are.
Not you. You weren't wrong.
For 1 week, blind squirrel, all of that kind of thing. A 6-pack of picks, which, I'm sorry, DJ, what was my record in that 6-pack of picks last week? What was it?
So just for the record, Rece was 6-0 last week.
Oh, wow. Okay. What a surprise. What luck. Let's start with the game where College Game Day will be, Pete, in Nashville. Missouri and Vanderbilt, 3:30 Eastern on ESPN. Who you got?
Well, I'm going to steal your line since I can't steal your picks. Poor old Missouri, just rolling in, just homecoming fodder for the mighty Vanderbilt machine. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it is, like as you said earlier, a game that's going to go by quickly. And I think Missouri figures out a way to win as long as they don't need a kick at the end.
It's a great point about the kicks. Everything sets up to feel like Missouri because so much attention is on Vanderbilt. Missouri's a really good team. Missouri did have to expend a lot of mental energy in the win at Auburn and probably quite a bit in the loss against Alabama too. So Missouri's been through it last couple of weeks. I'm going to say the Vanderbilt magic rolls on. Got a lot of music set up for game day. There's going to be a festival type atmosphere. It's going to be
who we got? Do we know who we have?
Vanderbilt. I'm not sure I can say yet, but they're big names and multiple.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, all right. Big names and multiple. So it should be fun.
Would you go croon with one of those country singers if they invited you to the stage?
They would not want me to, but yes, that is something that I wish I could do.
Interesting.
I can sing a cappella in the church, not with the best of them, but with most of them.
Okay.
But beyond that, if I have to start, I don't know what
your country jam. What would you want to go sing?
You know what? I'm not really a country music guy. I like it, but I'm Billy Joel.
Yeah.
That he's my favorite artist of all time.
Classic rock.
I like classic rock. I like sort of the things like White Stripes or I like REM, stuff like that. So but there is one country artist I guess you call him country, Johnny Cash.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it would probably be like When the Man Comes Around or Ring of Fire. Ring of Fire.
That's
is a
good.
great
That's
song.
good.
I Walk the Line.
If any honky tonk owners see Rece Davis walk in, and someone else up there singing for their supper, start walk the line, start the first couple beats, and you can have Game Day's host crew with you.
You know which song that is underrated, that when we went to Jackson State a few years ago that was stuck in my head and I played a lot? Johnny Cash and June Carter doing Jackson.
Oh.
Yeah, we got married in a fever hotter than a pepper sprout. We've been talking about Jackson ever since the fire went out. Oh, I'm going to Jackson. Oh, well, anyway. So I'll go Vanderbilt.
Okay.
I'll say
On
Vanderbilt
to Memphis.
on. Okay, while we're doing that, Elvis. I'll sing a little Elvis.
All right.
Thank you. Oh, thank you very much. Not really. USF and Memphis, mama. In the shadow of Graceland. What's your favorite Elvis song?
Man, that's I guess I'd have to say Blue Suede Shoes.
That's a good one. It's a good one. You got USF or
What
Memphis?
about you? Come on, you can't ask me in that.
Oh man, there's so many great ones, but probably Jailhouse Rock or Burning Love. And I don't know if it's an Elvis original, but I think his version of Suspicious Minds is.
Oh, that's a good one. That's
Great
a good
song.
call.
Yeah.
I am going to take the Fighting Byron Browns on the road in Memphis. I'm still scarred from the Memphis execution on the goal line sequence and Alex Mortenson's mighty win for the Blazers at home in front of what appeared to be dozens of fans that night. What a great story, though. Mark Schlabach on ESPN.com did a great story this week on Alex Mortenson and the boys pulling the upset. Worth checking out.
Absolutely. It was a great piece. Schlabach, nice work there. I'm going to go. Look, I had advocated for Game Day to go to Memphis prior to the Memphis loss. And also, I think it being a noon start on ESPN2 would have complicated a trip to Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
One of the great game day sites that we've ever had. In my now almost 11 years on the show. Shut down Beale Street was amazing. I think Memphis is a good team. I think USF is a really good team. I think USF is going to win the American. I think USF is going to go to the college football playoff. So I will take USF to win that game over Memphis. Primetime on ABC. Gig'em on the Bayou. A&M or LSU? Who you got?
I'm going to take LSU. I just got a feeling that this team and Garrett Nussmeier pushed to the brink is going to respond in a positive way, which would include finding a way to cobble together a couple scoring drives. So I'm going to take Tigers.
I'm right there with you.
Oh,
I think A&M's really good. I think they
Very good.
have, with all due respect to Indiana's win at Oregon, with all due respect to Alabama's win at Georgia, I think A&M has the best win of the season, winning at Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame's one of the 5 or 6 best teams in the country. So certainly the Aggies have proven that they can go on the road against a good team and win. Notre Dame's better than LSU, but LSU's a good team. But I'm going to go LSU. Desperation, have to have it. Season is a, I won't say failure yet, but a colossal disappointment if they lose their 3rd game before the calendar turns to November. I'm going to say LSU gets it done at home against A&M as well. Ole Miss and Oklahoma.
The new rivalry game, right? Isn't that the aren't they crossovers now? Not Lane Kiffin's favorite rival to have the Sooners rolling in. I'm going to take Ole Miss in this game. I think they have shown enough muster and mettle and ability to move the ball where they can go into Norman and figure it out. It's good to see John Mateer kind of back a little bit. You know what I mean? Like to himself. Oklahoma played really well at South Carolina the other night, but I am going to I'm going to take the Rebels in an upset, or the Rebels on the road. I don't know what the line is.
Yeah, I think Ole Miss wins too. I think Ole Miss is better, and also Ole Miss has never lost to Oklahoma. This is only the 3rd meeting. Beat them last year, and a little bit of trivia.
Ole Miss has never lost to Oklahoma. Huh?
They've only played twice. I think it was last year, and then the other game was the last game Josh Heupel lost as a college football player was against Ole Miss. Really? Independence Bowl, Deuce McAllister. They lost the last game of what that had been the 99 season. Yep. And then 2000, they won the national championship.
Yeah. Wow.
So there you go. I'll go with that. What about a surprising team? You and I had a chance when we were in Houston for basketball to visit with Willie Fritz, a coach for whom we've both had high regard, no matter where his stops. They're off to a terrific start, but now a real test against Arizona State. Arizona State coming off field storming, fine, emotional win over Texas Tech, the great bounce back. That's a 8:00 Eastern time start on ESPN2. Who you got, Houston or Arizona State?
So tip of the cap to Willie Fritz, 6-1. All that guy does is win football games everywhere possible. I know I've said this on the pod before. He's been around long enough where he was Michael Bishop's junior high gym teacher. And he has won at every level from junior high to high school to college to JUCO to Division II. Like he just keeps winning. That said, tough task. He has squeezed everything out of that team, maximized them. I don't think they can go on the road and win in Tempe.
Nor do I. I think Arizona State, Levitt back, a little boost after really getting shellacked at Utah. I'll take Arizona State to win that one decisively. The deep cut, number 1 against number 2, North Dakota State against South Dakota State, Bison and Jack Rabbits. New coaching staff at South Dakota State with the head coach Jimmy Rogers moving to Washington State this year, but still these two keep plugging along, top 2 teams in FCS. Who have you got in that one?
I am going to take North Dakota State, and I will give all our draftniks out there a little taste of what could come. North Dakota State has a signal caller named Cole Payton. Don't they always have like a signal caller who's going to get drafted? 6'3", 230 pounds from Omaha, 11 touchdowns, 1 interception, completing a cool 74.6% of his passes this year. I think Cole Payton and the boys take care of business, and we hear our friends Matt Miller, Jordan Reed, Field Yates talking about Mr. Payton come this spring.
So you're taking the Bison.
I'm taking the Bison.
I'm taking South Dakota State because of the symmetry. You know where Clark Lee was on staff for a couple of years, the Vanderbilt coach?
I do, because I interviewed John Stiegelmeier about him.
Exactly. He was on John Stiegelmeier, the legendary former coach at South Dakota State. He was on his staff as a linebackers coach, and new South Dakota State coach Dan Jackson was on Clark Lee's staff for a couple of years as a defensive back coach. So I'm going to say this is a full circle kind of weekend for the Commodores and the Jackrabbits and all things Clark Lee. I'll go with South Dakota State, number 2 team to win the 1-2 matchup in FCS.
I believe Clark Lee's wife, Allison, was a trainer at South Dakota State, and that's how they met.
Is that right?
I think so.
Oh, well, then my pick is locked.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain. I'm like 95% sure that they've told me that story before. So we'll lock that one in on Thursday when I'm there for practice. Rece.
Okay.
I am fairly certain she is of the Dakotas and they met there. I'm less certain she's from the Dakotas, but I'm 95% sure they met there. So.
I mean, there's a lot of Dakota going around. You've got this game 1-2. You had Heupel and DeBoer last week. Now you've got the connection with Clark Lee and Mrs. Lee to the Dakotas.
Yeah. Well, the Dakotas have played some good ball for a long time,
have.
man. They played some good ball for a long time, and they produced some really good players. You know who else is in that game is Trey Lance's younger brother, who somebody told me in the recent weeks could be like a 3rd-round pick. He is a receiver there, and had Bryce Lance had opportunities to go elsewhere and has stuck it out at the Dakotas. I mean, look, North Dakota State did the Lance as well, right? They're from Minnesota, and don't be surprised if Bryce Lance flashes this weekend. We're just going to give you all the Dakota goodness. He's probably the top FCS draft prospect.
And and both places have been great hosts for Game Day over the years. And
yes,
you know what? Maybe back there at some point as well. Thanks for listening to the College GameDay Podcast. We'll look forward to seeing you from Nashville. What a show it's going to be on Saturday morning. Download this wherever you prefer to get your podcast, or better yet, subscribe and never miss a single edition.